Hi guys. For those who are coming to my channel for the first time, I request you to hit the subscribe button 3 times and you will see the magic. Also watch my previous videos. We have been seeing the race of dollar versus rupee since the past few years. Most of us want the rupee to win. In fact, one thing we always wished for is this equation, $1 equals 1 rupee. Yes, you heard me correct. Don't go on my accent. I am an Indian. Here is the complete analysis for you. Let us assume that such an event happens overnight without a drastic change in productivity or a massive drop in real wages. A good Indian engineer makes Rs 75,000 per month. Skills-wise, this guy might be comparable to a guy making $3,000 in the US. What if $1 becomes 1 Indian rupee and this guy's productivity and salary stays the same? The Indian guy's salary becomes equal to $75,000. Before he is happy with his paycheck and go on to buy hot gadgets from the Apple Store, a few things change. Why would a company pay him $75,000 when you can get someone for $3,000 in the US? Of course they would not. So, every Indian, engineers, teachers, accountants, designers, would be fired from their jobs and jobs would move out of the country as workers are cheaper outside India. Where you cannot move the job outside India, such as cleaning, companies would find tech. An awesome robotic vacuum cleaner worth $1,000 would be used rather than a $4,000 per month human cleaner. As people get removed from the jobs, plenty of other jobs that rely on them, restaurants, cafes, retail shops, tourism, airlines, etc., go useless. As people get fired, they will be ready to work for lower and lower salaries, until their salary drops below the international level of say $2,500. Since $1 equals 1 Indian rupee, that would make great engineers make Rs 2,500 per month. How would they pay their mortgage, on homes, cars and gadgets? They cannot and they would default. The banks would have huge unpaid loans and they will go bankrupt. Investors would exit and government would have print a lot of money to keep the banks alive. That would spike up the inflation and push down the rupee so much that things get back. Rs 68 equals $1. At that point, the Indian's wage will be so low that jobs will move back again and the cycle would continue. There are plenty of real-life examples of this. In 1986, Japanese yen doubled in strength. $1 was about 280 yens until then and that suddenly become like $1 equals 140 yens. Just that completely screwed Japanese economy, from which they never recovered. Why did Japan increase their currency strength if they knew things are going to get worse? It is because the Americans forced them to do so. This is the reason why RBI is very careful not to let rupee too strong. It is to India's advantage that $1 equal Rs 68. It helps keep exports high, wages high and imports low. Ultimately the strength of a currency depends on only 2 things. First, productivity of the people. If every guy making Rs 75,000 per month is able to produce 25 times more output than a foreigner making $3,000, then India can enjoy $1 equals 1 rupee. Second, inflation. If a country goes through a sustained low inflation in relation to other countries, its currency would move up. That means after 100 years, if your salary stays the same at Rs 75,000 per month while America's inflation takes an average guy their salary to $75,000, then $1 equals 1 rupee. As simple as that. Since the second scenario is bad, we need to focus only on the first scenario. How do we get an average Indian produce many times more than a foreigner? I do not know. Now it's your turn. Give your ideas in comment section. For more interesting topics like this, please subscribe to my channel.